What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. And this time, I'm going to be talking about the economy in a Washington Post article that was just released. I just did a video where I talked about this time period in our country. I labeled it as the Great Unmasking. We have fellow citizens who are condoning shunning other citizens.
We've got to shun folks.
You have fellow citizens telling each other that I know better than you know what's better for your life and your health and your safety.
Can he point to his gabella?
Then tell him to shut the up. The gabella's right here, by the way.
In a different way, the Washington Post is tackling the same type of topic, but with the economy. They labeled it as the Great Reassessment, which I think is a good label for it. What does that mean? It's happening on a lot of different levels in our country, as I quote the article. At the most basic level, people are still hesitant to return to work until they're fully ready and their children are back in school and daycare full time. For example, all the job gains in April went to men. There's also growing evidence, both anecdotal and in surveys, that a lot of people want to do something different with their lives than they did before the pandemic. It's had a lot of psychological effects on workers, and people are reassessing what they want to do, how they want to work, whether in an office, at home, or some hybrid combination. The Pew Research Center survey found this year that 66% of the unemployed had seriously considered changing their field of work. That's a far greater percentage than during the Great Recession. People who used to work in restaurants or travel are finding higher paying jobs in warehouses or real estate, for example. So what's happening is people are reassessing their lives. Why is this happening? Why couldn't people have reassessed their lives 2 years ago? Well, we understand that our economic times, just like our social times, have been drastically changed. And here's the red versus blue perspective. And again, I'll try to give you the middle, where the truth usually lies in the middle. From the red cult, at the same time, business leaders and Republicans are complaining there's a worker shortage. They largely blame the more generous unemployment payments and stimulus checks for making people less likely to take low-paying fast food and retail jobs again. You might have seen this across the country. If you've gone traveling, I have talked to people saying hotels can't find people to clean rooms. So they're not even at the capacity that they could hold because they just don't have enough people to clean the rooms and turn them over. Same is happening at fast food jobs like McDonald's. You might have seen they're even going towards bonuses to try and get people back in. So there is absolutely some truth to what the Republican side is saying here. I continue. We have flooded the zone with checks that I'm sure everyone loves to get, and also enhanced unemployment. And what I hear from business people, hospitals, educators, everybody across the state all week is, regretfully, it's actually more lucrative for many Kentuckians and Americans to not work than work. And this article from Washington Post never addressed it. So that's the left side of things, because Washington Post is coming from the left angle. They never addressed it. I don't know why. This article, it has to be addressed in there. They said, the only way they addressed it is they said the Republicans think it's the unemployment benefits and stimulus that are causing it. They never even dug deeper. Yes, absolutely, that is the case. But when you look at the graph of what happened to jobs last year, it fell off a cliff. So it's convenient to say these are the reasons why there's a worker shortage, if you want to call it that. Yeah, that's true. But we had to do something, right? There was not going to be an easy way out of this. I think the smarter thing would have been to never lock down the economy. We still would have seen a drop, but I think it would have been I don't know if it would have been as drastic. Republicans are absolutely right. This is playing a role right now. I think that should be taken into account looking forward, though. That's where we need to look forward and say, do we need another stimulus or more stimulus payments to people? It's looking like we don't. But that's not what everyone thinks. If you go to change.org, there's a petition with at least 2.1 million signatures that Americans want a fourth stimulus check. Backers of the follow-up stimulus check are calling on Congress to support families with $2,000 payment for adults and a $1,000 payment for kids immediately, and continuing regular checks for the duration of the crisis. I don't know how we define the definition, the duration of the crisis. Dr. Fauci was asked that point blank by Jim Jordan, and he did not provide an answer. So I don't know how you would describe that, but that's what the petition is for. The goal is to receive 3 million online signatures, or just under 1% of the US population. So that's how significant amount of our population feel. That's a part of the reassessment, the great reassessment. That right there, asking for another check and to continuing those checks until some arbitrary date comes that we don't know. So where this is leading to is universal basic income, which I am a proponent of. I do agree with that, and I'm becoming more strongly a proponent of UBI. And right now, UBI has leapfrogged Medicare for All as my number one. I'm still for Medicare for All, but my number one, if you want to call it progressive, whatever, my number one policy that I think is the most important for our country right now is UBI. And that's what they're basically asking for. Do you think, say that the situation we're in goes for another year, do you think the people who signed on to that petition is going to say in May of 2022, okay, stop the checks? No, they're not. They want them to keep going. I think many of them would. So there's absolutely truth to what Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are saying. If someone is unemployed and they're making $16 the equivalent of $16 an hour when you include their enhanced unemployment benefits, and those benefits aren't taxed up to $10,200, you would need to pay them a lot more than $16 an hour for them to want to go back to work. Just the hassle of going back to work and dropping the fries and taking the calls or whatever that case may be, cleaning the rooms, $16 an hour ain't going to cut it at this point. You would probably have to get up into the mid-20s for people in this situation to even think about it. Why would this Washington Post article not talk about the eviction moratorium as well in many places? A lot of people are relying on that equivalent of $16 an hour and not paying their rent. So that's what's causing people to reassess. If you didn't have those factors, yeah, the only reassessment that would be is, when am I going to get my ass back to work? Employees are not the only one reassessing. Companies are reassessing how many workers they need in general. We knew when that job market fell off the cliff, we knew they all weren't coming back ever. All those jobs that left, maybe different ones, but those jobs that left, all of those are not coming back. They're looking at different ways to handle things. Jobs like hotel check-in desk workers, valets, toll booth collectors, these jobs that can be easily automated. Now's the time to put the money in for an employer, automate them. Don't have to go out there. It costs money to hire people now, to reach out and to get people. We can spend that money and automate it and not have to worry about it. There's also an ongoing decline in employment of administrative support staff. Temporary office help declined by 115,000 in April. So a lot of these jobs aren't going to be out here. Even the hot areas of the economy, which are manufacturing and construction, also had surprisingly weak hiring, with manufacturing shedding 18,000 jobs and construction flat. So there's some supply chain holdups that are happening here. But it's notable that the manufacturing sector has bounced back strongly, yet the industry has only added about 60% of the jobs lost. That's not proportionate to how strong it has recovered. This suggests many factories are ramping up automation in a way that allows them to do more with fewer workers. And that's only going to happen more. And that leads naturally into, right now is the perfect time to assess and to start a universal basic income. I have to qualify a lot of my ideas or thoughts with, I know it's not going to happen. I'm operating right now with this in a space of what should happen. And then whatever happens, happens. But this is the perfect time. There's already people kind of out of the market. A universal basic income would give them more flexibility. A universal basic income would not give people enough money to live comfortably and not get a job. It just wouldn't. So this would be the time to reassess that. And if we are going to do a universal basic income, in my opinion, within 10 years, it will have to happen because of automation, and these jobs will be lost. Some will create it, some new jobs will be created, but there is no way. This is like a nuclear bomb coming to all industries, all jobs. I don't care if you're a surgeon, a lawyer, a truck driver, a customer service, wait staff, all jobs are in danger. This is a nuclear bomb like we've never seen before. So some new jobs will be created, taking care of the robots or whatever the case may be, programming. But overall, it's not going to be a net positive. It's going to be a decimation. And if we don't have the process in place to get ready for that already, ongoing, we're going to be behind the eight ball, because this universal basic income is not starting out at $2,000 a month. I'm sorry. It's not going to. They think $2,000 a month for each adult, and then I think $500 for kids or $1,000 for kids. It's not starting out like that. It's going to be a huge adjustment. It's going to be a transition. You're going to have to take away from all of these social safety nets, like welfare. Going to have to be wiped out. Some of disability. So that's where this is leading. I will be doing videos on universal basic income coming up next. This was a perfect topic leading into that. If you've made it to this point in this video, I really have to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the great reassessment that's happening right now? People valuing family more, valuing working from home, not wanting to take jobs where they're yelled at all the time. What's going to happen when the unemployment is not going to last forever? We're not going to a UBI. It's not going to last forever. What's going to happen when that unemployment stops? Are people going to actually come back to the market? I think a lot will, but how many won't? Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot for listening. Take care.